have Franco with us back again, and we're going to do some talking about the streets.
Yes, we are. So we hope y'all tune in and listen up, and maybe y'all can give us some good feedback and we can team up and make a difference.
That's for sure. That's for sure. I guess our topic today is really violence on the street.
Yeah.
What happened the other day with that man.
Yeah.
And you know how innocent you can be walking up a street and something can happen to you and you're not even involved in anything.
Absolutely.
Right, Frank? How do you think, you know what we've done, and instead of having Bible study every Wednesday, we're going to have prayer. Just for people that, if nobody shows, it doesn't matter, I'm still going to be here to pray. And because I think prayer is a key factor
Yes, it is.
in changing things,
Yes,
But is there anything you could input here, Franco, like about the streets, about the violence?
Absolutely. It's just so critical out here, and it's very critical, and the split-second decision-making is probably the main ingredient to the destruction.
It's true.
And it just seemed like everybody do everything without a conscience. Like you just go, it's like a quick act. But I mean, it's got to be a point in you that you have where it's just you yourself, and you like weighing these things out. If I do it, this gonna happen, and the end results. I mean, it's got to be that time, and when you having them, that right there tells you that you can think before you act. That alone. So it got to be a starting point with yourself on knowing the aftermath. Is it worth it or not?
That's true. You know what really broke my heart, and I mean it still bothers me, is that young boy got 40 to life. Now I know he took a life, and I feel bad for the family that lost a loved one too. But I when I looked at his picture, I thought, there's a young man, 19 years old, that has the rest of his life, and it's to do in prison. And I have a prison ministry, and one of the guys had phoned me the other night, and I told him, I said, I'm so upset. And he says, Anne, he says, what happens, because he's done, I think, about 14 years already, and he's got another 16 to go. Okay. And he says to me, he says, Anne, what happens is the young guys come in thinking they're cool. We're doing some time here, this is great, we're in maximum, and they kind of want to hang. But he says after a couple of years, he says they start to realize this is life. And he says that boy is probably not coming out.
No.
And it's a fact. Some of the people I wrote to is like they go, they think, oh, I only got a couple more years and I got to go before parole board. And first time parole usually is
yes,
you've got some more time.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, I know it's my desire and your desire to say, okay, we want to change things. We want to inform people. And I know a lot of other people that Charles Harris, he's working to do something like this too. He's interested in changing the community. Brett Byro, A Different Breed, they're doing the walks, and there's a lot of people, but I think what it is connecting. Instead of having meetings and sitting there and not doing anything, you'll have a meeting and you say, yep, we gotta do something, and then time goes on and nothing gets done, but I don't know, we need feedback.
And I think what we need a lot more of too is the inner city relations, between just local residents, community leaders, and most of all our safety officials, because those are the 911 people we call when
That's true.
who say they are here to protect and serve us and what have you. But the division between the residents and police is tremendous now. The gap is widened bigger than ever, and it's steady expanding because you can't trust them. It's like we call them and it seems like we're going to jail. You know what I mean? For all these little petty it's like the people against the police. How is that going to be peace in the streets? That there alone is supposed to be the platform where we start to unite at it. If we don't have that, we don't have nothing. So we got those three elements got to come together.
Do you think with the police force, and I don't know, but do you think with the police force there may be, they've got an overload, and you know, sometimes if you get an overload, you're not sure who's the guilty one, who's the bad. I know women, and I'm going to talk for women. Women are the worst ones for calling the cops on their man.
Yeah.
He beat me up, he did this, he did that. The police take him away, they set up a court date, they charge him, they set up a court date, and they think, good. Okay, he's not going to hit her anymore.
Right.
And then, she don't even show up in court.
She don't show up in court.
And then he gets out, but after maybe a couple of months sitting there waiting for court, he might come out and he'll go back home and she'll say, oh baby, I missed you so much. And it's like, what? So I can see where the police get, oh, we got another call from this woman again, but look what, you know what, I can see where they get that way. You know, it's, and I can see maybe with the violence, some of the violence, they see so much. I was just saying to somebody the other day, I worked in the hospital, and you get so used to seeing death and people so sick that you get hardened to it.
Yeah.
You know, the family is sitting crying their eyes out because their loved one is dying, and you're just like, oh, here, I'll get you a coffee, and there's no emotion. And I wonder if that's what's happened in the police department with a lot of them, because they've seen it for years.
Yeah, it could be, but at the same time, you know, when you wear that badge of honor and you put on that uniform, you know, and you come out of that academy and the pledges you didn't took, you know, to be honest and, you know, loyal and, you know, hold your ground to this. You got to, you know, no matter what. Or if you don't, then just retire and get out of it and let somebody who else going to stand in there and do it. It shouldn't be about I'm just going to clock in, do my little 8, you know, or whatever. I mean, come on. That's why right there, I mean, it's too many of those and not enough ones that care. And that's why they fight amongst themselves, because you got some cops in the locker room is really trying to do the right thing, and they see other cops that ain't. So they know right there, so they go out on the force and they can't even rely on that cop. They look elsewhere.
That's true.
They can't team up enough themselves.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. You know what I find a lot is happening now, and it's really making me sick, is there's a racial thing going on. There's an underground racial thing, and it's getting stronger. And it's like, wait a minute, you know, if I get cut right now and you get cut right now, our blood is red. We're brothers and sisters. Absolutely. We are a human race. It's a human race here. It's not because you're black or you're white or you're Hispanic or this one's this way and this one. But what I feel is the tension is starting to build, you know, and it's like, something has to be done before disaster really strikes. You know,
it's so many gangs that, you know, live right inside of those very same public officials we're talking about, you know, and that's really sad when you calling on people for help and they're in a gang, you know. They went and took this military training overseas and what have you, and then they come back to the U.S. and now they had the proper credentials, and then they get hired by our government to protect us, and really they got other means. You know, they come all the things they've learned over there, they come home and then shoot their own police up. You know, I've seen things like that on game TV, how those very guys then went and got this special training, then they come home, get into our military and kill their own agents and people they're working alongside of. And that's crazy. And then spread it in their community with drugs and guns, and it's like, wow. It's so saturated with the devil out here. It's just
it is. It's terrible. It is. That's a good word, the devil, because it is. It's he's out. I keep telling people too. He's out to kill us, steal from us, and destroy us. And if we could understand that and get hold of it and say, you know, like I put a thing on Facebook last night about, you know, like some people. This is the only building we have right now to use. And it's a church. But, you know, some people say, well, I ain't going in no church to do nothing. You know, and I've heard it said, well, so, you know, lightning will strike me and stuff like that. But I put on Facebook last night, like, if lightning was going to strike, it would hit me first. Because I know what I've done. And, you know, it's like, it's not about that. It's about let's getting together, whether we meet on a corner, whether we meet in a church, if that's the only place available. whether we meet in an old abandoned building that maybe someone's let us use, you know, like, but let's join together in unity, and not look at the color of our skin or the paleness, or like, not look at that kind of stuff, but join together and say, okay, my brother just died, you know, and this little girl's getting raped, and you know, it's all this going on, and let's get together so we can make a difference.
A difference, a big difference.
A big difference.
And we gotta, you know, we can't sit back and, you know, make comments when we see failure. You gotta be a part of the
Right.
resolution. You know, you can't just always have a comment, because it don't make a difference if you ain't, you know, really out there on the front line trying to make it happen. So
Exactly.
that's how we keep it real here, you know.
That's right, that's right. Franco is going to be doing some more. We're going to hit different topics. You know, we're going to hit maybe child abuse, or
Yes.
he has a little girl. So, you know, the need is there. Like, we want to know. And I think a lot of the problem is maybe people aren't informed of what is going on in the city. So what we want to do is we want to tell people. We want to keep it real and get things out there. So we want feedback. We want your feedback. If you want to be interviewed, come on out. Franco will interview you, or I will interview you. We'll sit together here and tell your story, and let's see if we can't make a difference.
Yes. And that's what we're trying to do. Helping hands, you know, makes a difference. So
That's true.
keep it real, 100 all the time, and we'll see you next time here.
God bless you.